I think climate change is a reality. If we look at what has happened in the last 20, 40, 50 years, there's definitely facts that show that climate change is something that's happening. However, I think that there's really nothing being done in the sense of measures to circumvent or to move towards trying to avoid the climate change. And also maybe it's because it's something that's not preventable or something that's not a concern right now.
So yeah, I think that climate change, I believe, is a major issue right now, and I feel like if everyone works together, we can come up with a solution. It could be a long-term process, but eventually it could make a difference.
I believe climate change is important because it doesn't only just affect our generation, but it affects the future generations. Because of our carbon footprint that we're putting into the atmosphere, it has an adverse effect on the vegetation that we eat. It also affects the soil from which the vegetation comes from, and it also pollutes the water system. And that also will have lasting effects on future generations. So I feel like climate change is good to have a good hold or control on it now. If not, then it's going to have lasting effects.
It's a big deal, and the general public needs to be more educated about it.
So after taking the evolution and ecology class, I'm more educated about climate change now, and I see how it impacts the environment and it ultimately affects us, so we should be all more concerned.
Obviously we all know and we should be concerned about it, but the problem with that is a lot of people do know about it, but they just don't know how to go about it, how to change, or how to make a change or start something that could eventually prevent us from doing all that. Because from where I see it, all the technology and everything in our lifestyle, the way we live life, it's so like it's hard just to, we don't know where to start it from. We don't know how we're gonna produce the amount of carbon dioxide we with our fuels and stuff. It's a lot of people have a lot of the ideas, but they just don't know where they're gonna start it from. And frankly speaking, I don't think anybody just has time to just sit down and actually think it through the whole process.
I think this is the beginning. Climate change is a long fight. It's a generational battle to shift our economies and societies from dirty energy to 100% clean energy. But what the UN is trying to do is build momentum amongst world leaders, and that momentum is being built right here, not just in New York City, but in 2,500 events and marches all around the world. And the numbers are coming in from those marches right now. I've just looked at them, and it's 30,000 people in Melbourne, 40,000 in London, 30,000 in Paris. I mean, this is an unprecedented mobilization worldwide for action.
So what do you think about the climate change? Do you have any concerns or anything about it?
Yes, I do. And last week, because it was so hot this time of the year, I started to believe in global warming. It's hard to know. I'm trying to do my part, but walking more, not make some CO2 emissions and then everything.
Using less cars and more public transport.
Yeah, exactly.
So my question to you is, as a director for climate change initiative at UMass Lowell, what do you think we could do at school level to create an awareness among students, and what we are currently doing like to create awareness among like the schools, faculty, and
Okay, so there are a lot of answers to that question, but what I would start off with is the good news, which is that we are a signatory school of the American College and University's President's Climate Commitment. So we have made a public statement to the world that we are committed not only to net zero emissions by 2050, but actually probably more importantly, that we're committed to creating an institution where students gain climate literacy and energy literacy by the time they leave here. So we're not there yet, but the fact that we have this explicitly stated public goal means we've got a way to create a roadmap to get there. So I think that's really important because it also enables us to, or we already have, joined a community, a national community, and in fact really an international community of institutions of higher education that share that commitment and are leading in this area. So I think that that's huge. On a concrete level, I also think that it's huge that we have the Climate Change Initiative. I'll be honest that it may be my biased perspective, but I'm very proud of the Climate Change Initiative. We have about 30 faculty members, and in most university campuses, faculty who are working on something like atmospheric physics don't bother talking to faculty who are working on sociology or political science or business or health or even art. And we here have faculty who do talk to each other because they share a deep commitment to addressing climate change. And I think that that deep commitment is necessary to overcome the many barriers of cross-disciplinary work. And I also think that this is one problem that will never be solved without a lot of crossing of boundaries, disciplinary boundaries and other boundaries. And also just in very concrete ways, I think we have a challenge and an opportunity. And the challenge is that we have to be educating students, faculty, and the administration simultaneously. The opportunity is that I think that students have more power in this area than they think they do. And I mean, my message to students would be that if you are the ones that can drive the agenda of this university. You matter to the administration. And if you want more climate change and sustainability work happening on campus, speak up and say that you want it. And I think you'll be listened to.
Contains over 90% of the world's ice. Together with Greenland, it's enough to raise global sea levels by an astonishing 230 feet. This is what North America would look like if all of the planet's ice melted. Europe would also shrink. London's Tower Bridge would become a solemn monument in the sea. Berlin would be flooded, as would Paris.